Disclaimer: this podcast was not made to slander or speak ill of any author we will soon talk about. We will try our best to disassociate the author from their books.
This is a book discussion, and we are just speaking our opinions and not just speaking negatively about any book.
And this is a spoiler warning.
Here's a quick recap. The series starts with a boy named Thomas who shows up at the glade in the center of a maze. He finds others his age that were thrown there before him, and none of them have memories of their past life. He becomes a runner, the people who run into the maze to draw out patterns to try and find a way out. The series continues as the group continues to try to get through the maze and trials that the government puts them through.
In my opinion, the Maze Runner writing and the overall plot was like a good concept, but just terrible execution.
I got excited, about like the idea because I did watch the movie before the books. I'm guilty of that, but
SMH, come on.
I'm sorry, but like when I read the books, it was just kind of bland. Like even though people say, "Oh, the movies or the books are so much better than the movies," but like the book was just not good, and neither was the movie. So no hate though.
I thought the movie, I just don't understand how he was able to make such a fast-paced plot boring.
Exactly.
How's that happen?
Like, yeah. and the fact that like authors continue to think teenagers can like rebel against the government just still unreasonable. But I guess like in this case, in a way, it was okay because the teenagers were supposed to be the best of the best, and 3 of them did work. Work for the government.
Yeah, like they actually knew like the corruption, I guess, and they were like kind of familiar with it, even though their memories were kind of washed out. But they actually knew, like, they had a good motivation. It wasn't just, oh, we're being oppressed. It's like people are literally dying.
They were literally...
They're like smart enough I'm sorry. They're like smart enough where like, they're supposed to be the best to like know, like, so I guess it's sort of reasonable they're able to rebel.
Plus the government, like, it makes sense because the government literally like stole away their lives, so it would make sense that they're pissed. So,
and like literally Wicked, why did they give like the flare, which was like their big problem, to to all of the gladers, even when they didn't know if like when there wasn't a cure, and they just still gave it to them? Like they basically just killed them.
Yeah,
that was like kind of stupid.
Yeah. No, literally, I'm sure Newt was one of the like highest testing because obviously he's perfect. We'll get on that later. But
oh my gosh,
they still gave him the flare even though they knew that he wasn't immune, so he would die. And all like because Thomas and Mina were literally like best friends with him, so they're gonna be traumatized. Like what?
Exactly. Like
sorry.
There was literally no reason. Like it didn't even help the experiment.
They knew.
I mean, it's the control variable, but
like they knew who was immune and they knew who wasn't. So like, why couldn't they just give the flare to people who weren't immune if they needed it? Like if they needed the like results so badly or something, instead of just giving it to everyone.
Another thing that was confusing about the flare, now that I'm thinking about it, they said that they were immune, but they still had the flare. They just weren't showing symptoms, so they were just asymptomatic. So when they went into, what was the city that they went? Dallas, right?
And I thought they went to like...
It was in Colorado.
Oh yeah, Dallas is in Texas, my bad.
Aurora. I'm pretty sure.
What?
It was somewhere in Colorado.
Aurora?
Yeah.
Somewhere in Colorado.
I remember because, yeah.
I don't remember. But anyway, so they went into that city, but the city was trying to get rid of it, but they had the flare, so didn't they spread it to people?
Well, no, because other people
already had it.
Well, yeah, obviously, but like, yeah, but what about the people who didn't have it?
And I don't think they transmitted it either. They just, like, had it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, since they were immune, like, the flare just wasn't there anymore. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Still weird.
Yeah.
Still weird, but okay.
But in the first book, like, when the gladers are, like, sent to that area. Like, they were playing it smart, you know, where like they didn't allow anybody to, you know, cause any violence and stuff. Like, and they would banish them into the maze, which I don't know, the maze part was still kind of confusing.
It seemed kind
Yeah.
of irrelevant after the first book, and even in the first book, like the maze itself
Yeah.
wasn't relevant. It was the portal.
Yeah. Like,
thing.
why was
I don't understand how.
like, I get the maze was kind of just there to help them solve like how to get out, but I don't understand how it has to be a maze, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that the society was stupid because Wicked literally had so much money and so much land that they could literally create a maze underground. Like, that money could have been used to help stop the flare from being transmitted, like the people who work to go against Wicked in the third book were saying.
And like
Stupid.
Wicked created all those like grievers, which would literally kill people. Like, why would they spend so much money and resources making these things that would kill people? That's like that's just not.
And they searched everywhere to find people who were immune, and then they just killed
Exactly.
them.
Like if they're supposed to be like, I get they're trying to do that testing if they're the best, but you know, it's just not logical to be killing them off.
Yeah, I don't understand the best of the best thing in general because they're all immune somehow, so they all have something. I don't understand why they need the best.
Yeah.
So.
And going back to like the mazes thing, like how they had to stack all like the mazes on top that would spell things. Like, why did it take them like 3 years? I think it was like 3 years to figure out like that stacking the drawings on top would spell something out. Why did it take them that long? Like, aren't they supposed to be smart?
Obvious, but yeah, I thought it was obvious when I was reading it.
Yeah, like clearly there was a hidden message.
Yeah.
Oh, they just like.
I just thought because I don't know.
They
never thought to maybe jump into the hole.
Yeah.
At like the portal thingy.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Like,
I just don't understand that part either.
Or like, just like that spelling it out, or like they should have known that, you know, there wasn't going to be an end to the maze. Like 2 years being in the maze, they should have known there wasn't going to be an actual end.
And the fact that out of all people, Thomas like discovered, well, Thomas and Mino, but like Thomas, he literally just got there.
Code it, but like he forgot everything though. So like
he forgot about it.
Thomas.
So...
Thomas is stupid too. Why is he the best of the best? Like, come on.
And what was
we'll touch on that later though.
What was the point of the Scorch trials? Like,
I know.
They're just like, it's part of like the trials, like the 3 trials or whatever. Like, why was the Scorch trials
killed
like
everybody.
They didn't do anything.
Exactly.
They killed everybody off in the Scorch. Come on.
Yeah. Like, it was just not a practical
they're like,
test.
well, this is what's happening. These are the people that have the flare. If you don't get to the cure fast enough, you're gonna be like them, so chop chop. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
they could have had any other obstacle.
Literally nothing happened.
Just had to like cross a desert. And like, that was just like their only problem.
Yeah, nothing happens except for Teresa betrays everybody. But we'll get on that later.
Yeah. Okay, so I love Newt. Like, he's like my favorite character. You guys know, but you know, other people don't. But
yes.
I literally, the only reason I like the series, like, I don't really exactly like it that much, but the only thing that I actually had going for the series is Newt and Thomas Brody Sangster. But Newt, who's literally like the best character in the whole entire series, he was like super smart too, and he was like a leader too, right? Alongside Albie, kind of. I think.
Well, he was like the glue. But
yeah, the glue.
Yeah.
The glue.
But, you know, Newt didn't deserve to die. Like, the stupid plague just killed him off. Like, I don't understand why. They just killed him off. So upset that he died. Like, his death made me cry. Well, it didn't physically make me cry, but, you know, it made me cry. And he was the glue. Like, don't we love that for him? I mean, it's a stupid name, but he kept his friends together, and I love that. And when he found out that he was, dying, basically, like, he took it calmly at first, but then he, like, started crying that he wasn't gonna be able to see his friends again, which is really sad. But, he didn't deserve that end. Like, I don't understand why they just killed him off. Like, that pissed me off. And his sister, Sonia, like, he didn't even know they were siblings, and they saw each other so many times, and they didn't even know they were siblings. Well, at the end of Crank Palace, Newt does remember Sonia, and that was, like, the best. That's because I hated Crank Palace the entire time, but I'm so glad I finished it because, he remembered Sonia, and then in the epilogue, when he had, like, a bullet in his head, and he's like, he had a bullet in his head. He's like, there was a bullet in my head. And then some lady was talking to him. I think it was Chancellor Paige. I kind of forget. But because he said it was some lady, but I'm pretty sure it was Chancellor Paige. And then she was all like, I'm sorry, Newt, like, you're dead, but your sister's alive. And then Newt's all like, oh my god, I can't believe my sister's alive. And then he dies. Yeah, so that was that. And his limp story, it was so sad because, like, he kind of just brushed over it, like, he literally has a limp because he tried to commit suicide, like, and he just jumped off the maze, and then, like, Albie saved him, but he was just telling Thomas, he's like, oh my god, I tried to commit suicide while I was in the maze, and it was only, like, a sentence. They didn't even, like, elaborate more on it, and they should have. That irritated me a lot. So yeah, those are just, yeah, I'm done. But I love Newt so much. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we fully support.
But the plague.
What about Mino? The plague.
Oh my god, I hate
so
the
annoying.
plague
It's
so
so
much.
stupid.
Oh, gosh. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't deserve to die, but he did, and that just irritates me so much. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally like his death was like for character development for Thomas, even though it didn't really develop his character, but it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's just the worst part about it. Like, he pretty much died for nothing.
He literally did die for nothing. He died on Wicked property. Like, he hated Wicked so much, and he died, like, on Wicked property, in Wicked, because then, like, at the end of Crank Palace, he was probably in, like, some Wicked facility, which is so irritating, but you know what? It's the way it is, and that's so sad. Alright. I'm done for now.
Let's go on to the second best character in Maze Runner, and someone who also carried the entire trilogy, Mino!
Yes.
He was iconic. I loved Mino.
I know, right?
Like,
But
first of
about
all,
his name,
like, Asian representation, like,
yes!
alright.
And he's not the stereotypical, like, well, he was smart, but, like, he's not just smart. Like, he was the runner. He was informational.
athletic. Yeah, he was a leader. He went, ooh, ooh, ooh. He ran around. But when he was running, like, he ran so much in the maze. He ran for hours every day. But then when they went to the Scorch, he had training. He was able to run. But then all of a sudden, the Gladers, who were just sitting on their butts all day, were also able to run. Like, what? How's that happen?
Yeah, that was
Like,
confusing.
how was Newt able to run? He literally had a limp.
Yeah, he had a limp.
Like,
yeah, and, like, that doesn't... I mean, yeah, you can run with a limp, but you're not going to be able to stay on pace with the best runner, supposedly, in your entire groupie.
Yeah, and knowing Mino, he probably had, like, a 4-minute mile.
he probably,
So-
yeah. He probably
2 minutes.
was probably, like, shorter since he ran every single day. Like,
Yeah,
hours
but he had
on
to
end.
run for a really long time, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a good endurance. Obviously.
He made the dialogue interesting, too. Like, his sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yes, we stand that. He kept Thomas in his place, but he also, like, hyped Thomas up at the same time.
Even though he didn't
And
deserve
we love
it.
that.
But, you know.
He didn't deserve it,
Yeah.
but oh well.
Mino was very loyal, and we respect that.
Yeah. And he hated Teresa when she like first showed up, and like the entire time, which we love because Teresa
Yeah.
wasn't a
We
good
love.
character.
Literally everyone loved Teresa except for maybe, I don't know, Newt. It's just so annoying. It's irritating, but whatever. We won't talk
Like
about
Thomas
It
was
is
in
what it
love with
is.
her. Like, why was he in love with Teresa?
Yeah.
Even though
No.
God.
Thomas was controlling and always depressed. Like, he was just, like, when he got into the maze, he wasn't phased as much as the other gladers, per se, but he still was, like, all moody the entire Scorch trials and Death Cure.
He was just moody the entire time. He's just like, why am I here?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I hate Wicked, even though they took care of me and gave me, like, money and stuff. Well, they didn't give him money, but they, like, fed him and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, despite not wanting to be there, he like climbed the ranks so fast. He's like, oh yeah, I'm so cool, I'm so special, but he wasn't.
Yeah, he literally just, like, went boom. He literally just got there. He didn't even have time to be a green bean. Ugh.
Like, he wanted to be a runner. He's like, I want to be a runner. And they're like, all right. It doesn't work
Yeah, I
like
know.
that.
It doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, when
And
Chuck was like, you know, you can't be a runner, and Thomas was like, well, I want to, and Chuck was like, well, you won't be able to, and then he still did it.
Yeah. He's so stupid too. Like, he literally ran into the maze when Mino and Albie were out there. Like, yeah, he saved them, but that's unrealistic. That probably wouldn't have happened.
In Fever Code, I'm pretty sure like he found out that what Wicked was doing to his friends, because like he became friends with Mino and Newt and Albie, and he found out what like they were sending them into the maze, and then he went into the maze just because they were in it. Like that's not gonna save them, because you're gonna lose all your memories, so you're not gonna be able to help them. You're just gonna be as helpless as they are. Like, he thinks it's gonna save them, but he's making the situation worse than it already is.
Yeah. He's not even brave. He's reckless. He doesn't think before he
Exactly.
acts. He literally just jumps into random situations. Like, he's not the smartest. He's not the best of the best. Like, come on.
Yeah, and he acted like he was the leader, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so irritating when Mina was the supposed leader, and then they went into like the town place, and everywhere it said that Thomas, you're the real leader. Like, come on, no,
Yeah,
it's
that was
Mino.
so rude.
Like Mino's tattoo. You remember like in Scorch Trials, like you know how
Yeah.
Newt was the glue and Mino was the leader. So why were they all relying on
And
Thomas?
Thomas was supposed to be killed by Group B.
Yeah.
Yeah, why didn't they kill
liked
him?
that
Come
tattoo.
on.
He should have been. I mean, he technically kind of was, sort of.
Yeah. Like, and Thomas was bad, but Teresa was worse.
Oh my God, he was like,
how's that happen?
He was obsessed with Teresa, and literally Teresa kept betraying him so many times, and he always running back to her, and she worked for Wicked. Like, they all worked for Wicked. Well, not all of them, but like Thomas did too, but she supported Wicked the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, well, they know what's right. Like, I'll do what's right. It's like, no, you won't.
Yeah, come on, look at the red flag. She literally said Wicked is good 15 times to him or something.
Like, no, they're not. They literally killed Newt.
They killed Newt.
No.
That's
And
unforgivable.
the fact that she was going to kill Thomas, like, she genuinely thought she was going to kill Thomas just because Wicked told her to, like, sounds
Open
kinda
your
suspicious.
eyes.
Like, she just seems so much weaker because she's relying on this government group to control everything she does. I thought she was supposed to be the female representation, but she's literally letting us down.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and when she first came to the Glade, she's like, oh, you know, you guys look down upon me because I'm a girl. It's like, no, it's because you're annoying and weak.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're brand new. You have to, like, fit in somehow to their society that they built up. And you were asleep half the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like how she was talking in Thomas's brain, and he's always like, how are you doing
Yeah.
that? And then she's like, you'll figure it out. Just tell him how to do it. It's not gonna help him.
Yeah, just tell him throw your thoughts out. Be like, bam.
Yeah, and then she's just like, oh, you know, we used to do this all the time. It's like, well, clearly he forgot. It's not a normal thing that happens all the time.
Like, and why did she just go, Thomas, Thomas? And like, literally, it's just talking in his brain. You should have been like, Thomas, it's me, or something like, I don't know, just saying, don't freak out, or something like that. Like, he's obviously gonna freak out that there's just some female voice in his head.
And then the telepathy apparently was able to speak with Eris with telepathy when she was in her coma. Like, come on, why didn't you tell Thomas about that?
Yeah.
Communication.
And oh my god, Teresa
and Eris were just
they're so gross.
so, first of all, useless, but just gross.
Yeah. And then like Teresa's plan to like, and she was like seducing Eris and all that stuff like in front of Tom. That's not gonna help you. And like, I don't understand what the point of bringing Eris into her problems was gonna do.
And then Eris pretty much just disappeared from the rest of the story.
Yeah, he was just unnecessary.
Yeah, Eris just ditched.
And they really try to give Teresa a redemption arc. Like, they really
They really did that.
like, she was all like, oh, I'm doing this all for you. Well, no, you're not.
Well,
Yeah, like clearly Thomas doesn't want that.
yeah, and she's smart. She's supposedly the second choice after Thomas. She's smart. Why didn't she figure something else out that wouldn't kill everyone except for Thomas?
Yeah, like, she could have, like, worked for Wicked, like, as a spy or something like that. Like, Gally did, or I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Well, Gally was like kind of brainwashed
Yeah.
into doing it.
oh my god,
So
when he killed Chuck, that was like,
that was so sad.
that was sad. He should have killed Thomas, but no, Thomas has plot armor. Thomas has to live into the end. Why can't he just be like Triss and
Everything
just die?
happens for a reason. I know, right?
More main characters need to die.
Exactly.
But not Newt, obviously, because we're still angry about it. But
like
Thomas,
But
can
Newt
just go.
isn't even a main character. Like,
Yeah, he's like one of those
unfortunately.
side.
He
main
should have been, but-
characters. But then, what about Rachel, who was like Eris's like second half? She was just brushed over.
Yeah.
She was able to speak in Eris's mind too. Why wasn't she like a part of Wicked? Why wasn't she in Thomas,
Well,
Teresa,
she
and Eris's
died,
memory?
yeah,
so-
well, she
Well, no, but like before she died.
yeah, like,
yeah, before she died.
they could have like added in like somehow like Rachel and Eris talking to Teresa or like trying to talk to Thomas or something.
Yeah.
Like he just said,
Yeah.
"Oh, Teresa like and Eris were talking together while they were still in the maze." But like they could have included Thomas into like their groupie. You know, into their like telepathic groupie.
a group
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah, into
But the
the
thing
group
is,
chat.
Eris wasn't even. Eris wasn't even that sad. Like at first, he was like so depressed. He's like, "Oh my god, my other half. They killed her. They killed Rachel." And then literally 2 pages like after, he's just like, "Oh, I've moved on. I'm done with that."
Who's Rachel? I don't know her.
Yeah, it's like, who is she?
Yeah.
She don't exist. But then Brenda's stupid too. She lied to Thomas saying, "Oh, I don't know what Wicked is. I have the flare. I don't want to be, I don't know. I don't want to lose my mind. I can already feel it happen. Wow, I'm so quirky and different. Shut up."
Yeah,
Like-
and then when they danced, and she's like, "I thought we had something special." It's like, okay, you guys literally are about to die. I don't think that's your biggest concern.
And like she was actually immune in the end. And she just decided to continue
Yeah.
lying because she was working with Wicked like everybody else. Because Thomas doesn't seem to learn to not fall in love with girls who are working with Wicked because he's because he's just so clueless. Gosh.
And it was confusing how she was able to speak in Thomas's mind like that one time. How did that happen?
Right. Like
That was mentioned once.
yeah, like they just brushed over that. Like I thought there was gonna
Yeah,
be
they're
more.
like, she gave him a warning.
Yeah.
She gave him a warning, and then she's like, "Peace out. I'm never gonna talk to you again."
Like
Yeah, and she more than Rachel wasn't a part of their groupie. Like, come on.
And then, you know, Brenda and Thomas ended up together only because Teresa's dead. Thank God.
Her death was so fast. I didn't even
know.
realize it, though.
Like, I didn't even...
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
was, like,
I'm
right
not
at it.
complaining. Like, she doesn't deserve that, but I was just like, oh, she's dead. Okay.
Yeah, like, the
I guess
building
that
the
happened.
building just, like, fell on top of her, and, like, she's just gone. I'm like,
Yeah. No more.
And then Thomas was like, oh, she's dead. Runs away.
But, like, in their groupie, when Jorge joined, he literally carried them the entire time.
I know,
Like,
right?
I know. He
And for him,
flew
it was
their
great.
ship
Yeah.
thing, their aircraft. And he's like, I'll get you into the city, don't worry.
Yeah.
He was great. And he, if it wasn't for him, Death Cure would have been a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone would have just died.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, like, I'm really upset that they didn't mention enough Group B. Like, they just brushed over that there's the second group of girls, you know? Like, we needed good female representation after that train wreck that was Teresa and Brenda. Like, they were not good female representation.
I know.
But Group B was, because they were able to solve, like, the maze faster than Group A, and they had, like, less casualties, which we needed because we needed more female representation when the entire, like, main characters are just men and terrible representation for females.
Yeah. It was kind of weird how all of them had, like, the same personality as Group A. Like, Harriet was the other side of Mino.
No,
and then
Harriet
Sonia
was
like,
No,
Newt.
Harriet was the parallel to
Albie?
Albie, I'm pretty sure. I think. Because Harriet
Oh.
and Sonia were the leaders while Albie and Newt were the leaders. Oh my god, I love how Sonia is
Oh.
literally, like, the parallel, like position as Newt was. That's so cute.
Yeah, because they're
Yeah.
siblings.
Siblings!
Like, I don't know.
They deserved better.
Yeah, like, I feel like there should have been some explanation, like, if Sonia actually remembers Newt. Because she got her memories back in Death Cure, but, like, she kind of just didn't say anything to Newt after, like, getting all her memories back. It's so sad. Because, I don't know, maybe... Because I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be, like, another book, like, a continuation of Death Cure. Because apparently
Another one?
Oh,
we need
really?
more books for this trilogy. But maybe Dashner, is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
I hope he mentions, like, Sonia remembering Newt, because if only Newt remembers Sonia, that's gonna be the saddest thing ever.
You know, Dashner is really good at creating realistic dialogue. Like, all of their friendships seem genuine and real. Like, especially Newtmas.
I love
and
Newtmas
Thomas.
so much. Literally, in Death Cure, they were, like, the best friendship, like, ever. Well, not ever, you know, but, like, within the series, it was, like, the best part. And, like, they didn't even get that much, like, time together, you know? Especially when, like, Thomas and Mino got their, like, chip things out or whatever. And then, like, Newt had to stay on the plane, and then Newt went to, like, that palace, and I was just waiting for them to, like, get back together. Well, not to, you know what I'm saying? It's like for them to reunite.
Friendship.
And then once they did reunite, and Newt was all like, oh, you should leave. And I'm like, you literally haven't seen them in so long, and you're just telling them to leave now. Like, it was so sad.
Or when they got to the Crank Palace and they were looking for Newt, and Newt was all like, I didn't want you guys to be here. And I was like, you don't mean that.
Exactly.
And Thomas was so sad. He's like, no, you have to come back with us. And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, the audacity. But also,
hurt my
not
heart.
audacity, because he was really sad, too.
And then when they left, I was like, they're not gonna actually leave. Like, Newt is gonna come back. And then the next time they interacted, Newt died.
I know.
And that just really hurt.
Like, I was just waiting for, like, Newt to clap back and be like, all fine again. But no, he dies.
But, like, he trusted
I wasn't
Thomas.
expecting it.
He's like, I trust Thomas to be able to kill me. And I kind of respect that, I guess. I don't know.
Like, he knew.
Dude, the note was brutal.
No. Literally, he's all like, if you were my friend, you should kill me. Like, what type of note is that? What type of goodbye note is that? And like
watching like Thomas watching Newt deteriorate, like his mind like going down.
oh, so sad. And then like back to the part where Newt was saying that like he trusted Thomas. Also like he trusted Thomas to get things done, and then like especially with the note, he didn't ask Mino, which he knew like longer. He asked Thomas instead.
Because he knew that Mina wouldn't wait to like open the note, and he'd just be like, Newt, what the heck? You can't do that. So
Yeah, and
Newt
I remember
and
like
Thomas
when they
were
did
realistic. Oh, sorry.
when they did like reunite, and then Newt was all like, Thomas, you didn't look at my note, and like when is like why was Thomas supposed to know when to look at it? Because Newt was all like, oh, you'll know when to look at it. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be like some sad goodbye note,
Yeah.
but then it was just
Kill me.
you have to kill me, and I was like,
Like, seriously?
I mean, I know Newt didn't want to have like that sad like sappy ending. He just wanted like, you know, leave it the way it was. But like leaving a note that's like kill me. That's like not.
it's so brutal.
That is brutal. Oh my god, in his death scene, literally so sad.
The way that like Dashner described it, he was like, there was one last moment of clarity in Newt's eyes, and I was like, stop!
His last words. It was like
Please,
I didn't cry.
Please. Oh my god, that's so sad.
I didn't cry, but I was like just like the way like his name was incorporated, and then like it was like begging but also just kind of there. I was like, oh, no. There's no way to describe it. It was just really sad.
Oh my god, and he's the only person who calls him
and then-
Tommy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's so
know
cute.
the way that he's just like Tommy. And I
It's
was
like the best friend goals.
especially
Exactly.
yeah, and he has a British accent, so it's like Tommy.
well, it's supposed to be like British-ish, kind of Swedish, but like, you know, the actor Thomas
Well,
Brody
yeah,
Sangster was
but,
British.
Yeah, he became British.
Tommy.
Tommy.
British people are cringing.
Sorry if we offend you and your culture.
Oh my god, like, but their accents are just so like pretty, you know. Like,
I love
Yeah, I
British
know they're.
people's
Oh my god, I'm
accents.
obsessed with accents.
like my boring American accent isn't like no one wants to have that.
No one
Yeah.
wants to have
Oh my god.
some yee. Sorry.
Yee.
That's a stereotype. But like, I don't know, it's so boring. But I guess people also like our accents, so.
No, they don't.
I don't.
No one likes an
there was a
American
No one
movie
likes
I
it.
watched where it was like, oh my god, can you say that again? I love your accent. And it was like this Aussie girl, and I was like, oh, that's a thing. But anyways, that's
I
really
remember,
off
like-
topic.
But going back
To the books.
back to Newt and Thomas. But like Newt's death scene literally like killed me. You know, it's like one of those death scenes that like killed me. I mean, every single death scene like kills me, but like this one specifically because I love Newt so much, and you know his death scene was so sad because especially that Thomas was the one to kill him. Like he didn't die because from the flare. Like he died because Thomas shot him. It was so sad.
Yeah, because Newt didn't want to like succumb to the flare. Like he didn't want to die, I guess. But because he knew he had to die, so he was gonna die. He wanted to die at like the hands of his friend, his best friend.
Like he could have shot himself, you know, or whatever. But he had Thomas shoot him. That's like even more brutal. But it's like it's so sad. And before he died, and he thought about Thomas.
But he was like
and he
looking
thought about
at
his
Thomas.
friends.
He's like. The last person he saw was Thomas. Like,
Yeah, but you know, Newt and Thomas though, like they're so cute. Oh my god. I mean, like not in a relationship sense, because I know Newt Miss shippers are like a different type of shippers. They're like hardcore.
well, they like Dylan O'Brien and Thomas Brody Sangster. They don't really care. Well, they probably do, but like it's mostly like the actual actors. You know?
Yeah, but they're like hardcore shippers. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's like the Will and Jem shippers, and then there's the Newt and Thomas shippers where they just go hardcore, especially with all like the fan art.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the fan art.
I mean,
the
very
fan art
talented,
is
but
lit.
like,
I
you
mean,
know,
would-
it's something. You know, something to think about.
You know, yeah, they're talented though. They're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, artists are so talented.
Could not
Honestly,
be me.
if you can make fan art, honestly, it doesn't matter what ship, because you're passionate enough about it.
Like, if you could do fan art for a book, like, you're already, like, levels ahead of me, so I'm like...
Yeah.
But back to Newt and Thomas, which I cannot stop raving about. I'm really sorry. But, you know, and then before he died, I think it was Chancellor Paige. Not very sure. I mean, it's usually Chancellor Paige in, like, all the epilogues. But she's all like, I gave Thomas your journal, because Newt is, like, a little girl, and he, like, made a diary of his stay at the Crank Palace.
Dear diary.
That's cute, though.
Dear diary, here's day 5 of me at the Crank Palace.
I'm going crazy.
Dear diary. My mind is like really foggy. Kind of weird, but okay.
But I really miss my friends. Day 6, okay. But you know,
I hate my friends. They came to check in on me, but I actually told them to go away. I hate this.
I mean, he did write about that, but you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, oh my gosh, I saw
I didn't
Thomas.
read it, so.
You know, it's...
Oh, Thomas.
Yeah, it was so sad. But, you know...
But, you know, I think Mino and Thomas were also, like, they had a pretty good friendship, too.
Yeah.
Since,
and like,
Mino was kind of the first person at the Glade that Thomas got close to, you know?
yeah. So it's like that love triangle. Like, between
True.
Mino, Thomas, and Newt. People would think it'd be Thomas, Brenda, and Teresa. They're wrong.
No. Of course not.
The bromance is real.
The bromance is real.
Like, everyone who's a real fan of the characters should know, like, there is no chemistry between the girls and Thomas.
Exactly.
It's always Mino.
Like, they're
and Newt.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
Like, come on. Mino and Thomas had a night together in the maze.
I mean, not like that.
Bonding time, running away from grievers.
Yes. How do they even, like, come up with grievers, though? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know, like, a name?
you see, like, the giant robot spider thing, and you're like, oh yeah, I call that a griever. No, I think that's, like, a freaking...
Yeah, it's like, they
spider.
move like slugs, they have robot arms, and they, like, kill you, but we like to call them grievers.
Yeah, but
Like,
then
I call it, like, a
not
demon.
family.
No.
Yeah, Group B, like, called them the exact same thing, and, like, that's, like, I don't know, maybe Wicked told them, it's a griever.
Yeah, and their brain is just, like, no memories except for that is a griever.
But anyways, their night together in the maze. Like, they survived a night, because apparently they're all like, oh, no one survives a night in the maze, because apparently grievers, like, go out in the nighttime. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And the walls close, there is no entrance into the town.
yeah, but then
It's not really a
Thomas,
town, I guess.
Thomas saw Mino, like, struggling to get Albie, like, back, you know, back out of the maze, and then Thomas ran in to help Mino. Like, it was a stupid idea, you know, obviously, but he ran in to help
Like,
Mino.
loyalty.
Exactly. I mean, they didn't really know each other that well, like, because,
Yeah.
but
Everyone was a
mean,
jerk
Thomas-
to Thomas. I don't know why he was like...
I mean, Thomas has that
I mean,
heroic
he's kind of
trope.
annoying, but...
Yeah. Thomas loves sticking
But it
his
was
nose
cool
in
that
everywhere.
Mino, like, believed... It was cool that Mino believed in Thomas, because, like, Thomas really wanted to be a runner for literally no reason. He was just like, I want to be a runner. And so Mino was like, all right, cool, I'll take you in. And, you know,
Well, Mino didn't
that's
really
great.
care about Thomas being a runner, but then Thomas, like, apparently had a great idea to dodge the grievers. Like, why didn't they think of that before? Just dodge. But
Or, like, just climb up
Yeah.
the vines and stuff, or, like, hide in the vines. Like, did they not think of that? Because Newt was all like, oh, we thought of everything, so, like, everything you think of is wrong. But no, apparently Thomas Thomas has these revelations in his brain that somehow works, and they don't, so.
Yeah, apparently they
Kinda
never
weird.
thought of a ladder.
Yeah, like...
oh no, who could think of that?
Like, Newt was able to climb up that wall to, you know, attempt his suicide, but they never think to, like, hide on the top of that wall.
But, like, they were a good duo. Like, they had pretty good teamwork, like, you know, during their night in the maze. Because they pushed the Griever... Well, they kind of pushed it. Like, they tricked the Griever into going into the whole thing at the cliff, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, teamwork, even though they literally didn't talk.
Yeah.
Teamwork is dream work.
That's cool. Yes.
And,
I
like,
liked how
especially when, like, all the Gladers were upset that Thomas ran into the maze because, like...
Poor Newt. Newt was trying to get there. Oh my god, the love triangle. He was, like, trying to
Of
get there, but,
course.
like, his lamp was slowing him down.
It always goes back.
Yeah.
I remember, like, in the movie, they said that Mino was the one... Well, it was a deleted scene, but they said that Mino was the one who, like, saved Newt from his suicide attempt, which I really wish happened in the book because we needed more of Newt and Mino because we didn't see enough of that in the books.
Yeah. And another thing about Thomas and Mino is that Thomas, like, really respected Mino. He was like, I can't mess with that guy. He'd probably beat me up, and that's accurate. And it stopped him from being too arrogant, so we love that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and Mino was, like, logical, so he wasn't, like, a bad leader. Like, he told Thomas when his ideas were stupid.
oh my
We
god,
love that.
Mino was a good influence.
He's a good influence.
Yes!
A good influence.
Isabel's are good influence.
Yeah.
I sure hope so. But also there's
course.
that they had like that tiny trial because like Thomas broke their number one rule of not going into the maze during the nighttime, and then Mina was all like, we should make Thomas like the leader of the runners or something.
That's not helping
'cause
with
he's
his
so
ego,
brave.
okay?
Yeah.
But like Mina was like, oh, you need to aim high and like shoot low or whatever. I forget what he said.
Yeah, aim high, and then they'll be like, huh, that's unreasonable, but if you think
Like-
that, then we'll go with it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly a good argument strategy, like, have higher expectations and, like, lower them so then they're like, oh, that's so much better, even though that's what you wanted all along.
Exactly.
Mino is the smartest one.
Yeah,
Honest.
because he's Asian. Like Asian
Oh my God.
representation.
We don't feed into those stereotypes, though, Isabel.
My
We
bad.
don't do
We
that
don't
here.
condone that behavior.
But Mino is smart. Mino is, like, well, he's not the best, but he's, like, a good leader.
Good influence.
Yeah. And Newt and Thomas, like, their friendship kind of revolved, or, well, no. It's a love triangle, but they were all connected.
Yeah, through the triangle.
Yay! Yeah, the three sides and vertices. Yay! Love math and geometry. Not really.
See, math does come in, like, does show
Math
up
is in
everywhere.
every single thing.
Especially love.
Of course.
Even though Dashner wrote the friendships really well, the actual relationships were more debatable.
They
Like, what was
sucked.
Teresa and Thomas?
They
Oh
were
my god.
they were not it. Like, they were not goals. Literally, Newt and Thomas had more chemistry than Teresa.
Oh my god, and they were so annoying. They were all like, they were so into PDA. Like, come on.
I mean, they didn't, like, kiss in front of each other, but they made, like, those puppy dog eyes in front of each other, like, all the time.
They talked in their heads and they're like, ugh, I wish you were here. Oh my god, where are you? Like,
And then they were like reach for each other's hands, and then like one of them would reject, and then the other one would be like sad, and then like the other graders would be like, oof.
they'd be like, oh no, the romance.
Like, Teresa was the first girl to show up, and none of the Gladers were like, oh my gosh, yeah, she's mine, or like, you know?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they kind of did. Like, when she first arrived, they were like, whoa, it's a girl. But then,
she was like
Like, they
half
weren't
dead.
freaking... Yeah, they were freaking out like it was a girl, like and like she looked dead, but they weren't freaking out like, oh my god, finally a girl, you know?
Well, yeah, but I'm sure they were all gay.
Wait, Dashner did say like one of the Gladers were gay.
That's true.
And we all know it was Newt.
There has to be like more than just one. Like, come on, like a group,
Literally,
like a
yeah,
group
there's
full
so
of boys.
for 2 years,
and only
they, like,
one
lived.
of them.
Yeah, There's no way.
Yeah, it sounds kind of sus.
We all know it was Newt. We all know it was Mino. Literally, when Teresa just wakes up, she immediately starts talking to Thomas. Like, why was she so obsessed with him?
Oh no.
She
They
literally
didn't even
hung
have
out
their
with
memories.
everyone. No, she literally didn't hang out with anyone except for Thomas.
Yeah. Like, she was so clingy. And then, literally, she just leaves and then, forgets about Thomas. And Thomas is just pining for her the entire time.
Yeah, and then she was like, when she told him, like, trust me, like, you have to give some background.
Yeah, like, how is...
No, Teresa literally betrayed him, but
Exactly.
it was all for him.
She's
Like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, I was gonna kill you, but it was gonna be good for you. It's like, no, it wasn't.
No, she literally, like, oh my god, poor Thomas, honestly. She, like, made out with Eris.
I know.
And, like, knocked him out. Like, what?
Yeah, they're like, ha ha ha, we've kidnapped you. This is all part of our big plan. It's like, okay.
And then she's all like, Wicked is so good.
Yeah, she kept saying, like, oh, I'm not for Wicked, but we all know she was for Wicked.
Yeah,
No,
and then
literally...
after it, she was like, Thomas, I only want to be with you. It's like, sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
And, like, does Thomas not get scared of her, like, being so clingy to him? And then she's always talking in his head. Like, doesn't he get scared? He's like, why is this girl just talking in my head?
I mean, he was at first.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
But then he gets used to it so fast. He's like, oh, hi!
He's like, oh my god, I don't hear her voice. What's happened to her? It's like, that's kind of weird.
And he was like, I was missing a part of me when she wasn't there. And I was like,
that doesn't sound like a good relationship, buddy.
And in the second book, when she did kiss him, he's like, I didn't feel anything. Like, am I supposed to ship that? Absolutely not.
Well, that was like him, like, realizing he's like, Teresa is mean.
Terrible.
Yeah, and then that's when he realizes that Newt is the best.
Newt is
Newt is his one true love.
Oh no, we're turning into Newt shippers.
Oh my god. We can't be those hardcore shippers.
We're not hardcore yet. We see the argument.
Yeah.
We see the evidence.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
We're getting there. We're learning.
Yeah, and then
it's better than Thomas and Teresa.
Yeah, and then Dashner adds in this extra girl, Brenda, who literally lies to him. Like, about who she was.
Brenda, really.
Like, she kind of just showed up.
People love Brenda.
Yeah, I don't get that. She was, like, pretty cool in the movie, I guess, but, like, she wasn't that great in the books.
Yeah.
When there was that thing in the tunnel, like, in Scorch Trials, where they were, like, separated from Mino and Newt and I think...
Yeah.
I don't know, who else?
Like, and everyone else.
Like, the rest of the Gladers. Yeah, and then they had to, like, fight against, what are they called? Cranks. Yeah, that's the name. And they were like, oh, we have to hide. I was like, maybe you should, like, not do that right now. Because they were, like, huddled up, and he's like, I felt her body against mine. I was like,
yeah, and Brenda was all, like, touchy-feely, and she was, like, holding his hand, and meanwhile Thomas is just like, but what about Teresa?
Like, he's like, oh my god, where's Teresa? Where's Teresa? And she's over here like, Thomas, I'm right here for you. And he's like, no, but Teresa.
He's like, and she's like, Thomas, I love you. And he's like, Teresa, though.
But when...
Yeah, they were dancing, like...
Sorry. But when Teresa did kiss him, he's all like, I didn't feel anything. Like, what? Like, what is his thinking?
Like, dude, decide. When they were dancing, like, that one night, also really weird timing, like, they were literally about to die, like, hours before, but they were dancing, and then he was like, ugh, I miss Teresa. I was like, come on, you ruined the moment.
Yeah, and they were, like, all, like, they were, like, really, like, bonding, and then he was like, you'll never compare to Teresa.
I know, I was like, the audacity of this kid. Well, he's not a kid, he's older.
Well, he's basically
he's pretty
a kid.
old. Yeah.
He's like a teenager.
He acted like one.
But, like, he's, like, always thinking about Teresa when Teresa isn't even that great.
Teresa wasn't thinking about him.
For
so-
sure not. She's probably thinking about her brilliant plan on screwing Thomas over.
So overall, I would say the trilogy is definitely a lot better than Divergent, like character and relationship wise, but it's still
God,
pretty
especially-
underwhelming.
Especially the fact that Maze Runner had Newt and Mino.
Yeah, kind of hard to compete with
Divergent can't really compete.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Other than like the character.
I mean, Divergent had like a better like storyline-ish, but you know, Maze Runner is kind of just better like character-wise,
Yeah.
since you know books aren't mainly about plot. It's
Yeah.
like about the characters and like development and stuff.
Yeah. I'd say like if it wasn't for the character interactions, it wouldn't be as good as it is. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's still
It'd be
not a
it's
great
like-
book, or trilogy, but it's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Mediocre.
Yeah.
Like,
We're just here for the newness.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god, the bromance was real in this book series. Like, Tris and Christina, but Newt and Thomas, literally 10 out of 10.
Thank you for listening to Book Expectations with Anya, Doris, and Isabel.
Email us at bookexpectationspodcast@gmail.com. That is bookexpectationspodcast@gmail.com for any recommendations on what books you'd like to hear next.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and friend us on Goodreads at Book Expectations Podcast, or click the link in our bio.